Buddhasya Nananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Let me share my screen first. So today's topic is Anartha Nivrithi, the process of Anartha Nivrithi, and also Anarthas represented by the demon Pralambasura. Because of the lack of space in the flyer, and it would be too wordy and all that, we just decided to keep it short. Pralambasura actually represents more Anarthas than just lust and honor. So let me quickly start today's session by singing this most famous and most beautiful stanza from Gopi Gita. I'm sure most of you have heard this. Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam kavibhiriditam kalmashapaham Shravanamangalam Srimadattatam Bhuvi Grinanti Ye Bhurida Jana. So the gopis have so ecstatically, beautifully eulogized Lord's Leelas, the nectarian Krishna Katha here in this particular verse. They say that, it is so auspicious. Anybody who hears it, and I'm sure most of us have had this experience, even if we are down in the dumps, most miserable condition, the minute we hear with attention Krishna Katha, that Amrita immediately relieves us from all miseries. Such a glorious Krishna Leela is undoubtedly enchanting, but it also has such deep, deep significance and meaning to it that we are so fortunate. Our acharyas have actually unleashed such amazing import from that. Specifically, Krishna's Leelas are said to be of two types. One is the eternal, Nitya Leela. Another is the occasional Leela. So in the eternal Leela is something, or those Leelas which go on every day, eternally. In the morning, there is a set of Leelas, in the afternoon, evening, night, mid-morning, mid-afternoon, so on. So it's called the Ashtakaliya Leela, famously known as. But there are occasional Leelas, which happen, of course, occasionally, and killing of the demons is one such. So killing of the demons happens occasionally. So this killing of the demons especially has so much deeper meaning to it that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in his work called Sri Chaitanya Shikshamrita, he's actually enlisted, 20 of them, very important 20 Leelas corresponding to each demon, and has actually gone into such detail and told us what each of these demons represent. For example, Putana was the first demon that was killed by Lord Krishna, and Putana, as we all know, she came as a beautiful demigoddess. That was her external form. But really, and she also came with with an external or a showy intention to help nurture Krishna, baby Krishna, but internally she was something else. She was a demon who had a very notorious intention of poisoning and killing the baby Krishna. So this represents a deceitful guru, a guru who cheats and cheats his disciples and has a different face and all that. Similarly, Pralambasura, our topic for today, also has so much of significance and helps us understand our own anarthas or the Pralambasura inside us. So even by looking at the Leela of killing of Pralambasura, we can actually get a bit of an insight. So as we all know, Krishna, Balaram, along with their Gopas, friends, they had unlimited bliss in enjoying their, leelas. They would be herding the cows, and they would be, playing so many games in the Vrindavan forests. And one such day, demon Pralamba, he entered in within their company. So he actually came in the form of a cowherd boy himself. He looked like one of the Gopas, actually. And Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, this demon had actually disguised himself as one of the Gopas who had remained home that day. So he hadn't come. So he took that opportunity, and then he actually came in that exact look. And he was also, had the same, disposition or whatever. So nobody could actually tell. So everybody thought this is their friend. But Lord Krishna, what can escape his knowledge or cognizance? He knows everything. And so he immediately understood who this demon was. But still, he pretended to accept him as a friend initially, while at the same time, he was seriously considering how to kill this demon. And so, Krishna is the origin of everything. He says in the Bhagavad Gita, Aham sarvasya prabhavaha, matta sarvam pravartate. So, even the sporting, even the fun, games, frolic, everything, it has to come from Krishna. Otherwise, there is no meaning to him being called as the absolute truth. So here in his childhood Leelas, he displays so many games and play, sports, that it could itself actually be a subject matter for devotees to study. So because of shortage of time, I'm not getting into that, but each of these games the Lord has very kindly given, so that children could be actually made to play in this way. That way they can actually remember the Leela, and they can at the same time remember the Lord too. So anyway, now he called out to the boys, and he says, hey, cowherd boys, let's play now. And he said, let's divide ourselves into two even teams. That means both teams should have the same number of players. And he was, in addition to the sporting pleasure, the purpose of the game was obviously to kill Pralambasura. So the two teams chose Krishna and Balaram as their leaders on each side. And so some of the boys naturally took Krishna's side, and some naturally took Balaram's side. That is their eternal Swarupa also. Some are more devoted to Krishna, and some are more devoted to Balaram. So, and this in this game, it was agreed that it was the kind of a game wherein the losing team would actually carry the winners on their back, and that way they would be riding. The winner would ride on the loser. So when after this game was done, so Lord Krishna's team won. That means Lord Balarama's team Lord Balarama's team were victorious, and Krishna and his followers actually had to carry them. Now, Pralambasura, even though he was a demon, he was very smart. He was actually devising the strategy such a way that he didn't want to take on Krishna. He knew, he had calculated that Krishna is the most powerful, so he didn't want to deal with him. So he thought, okay, let me get rid of Krishna. That's why he actually went on Krishna's side, so that he wouldn't have to be opposing Krishna. So now that Krishna's side got defeated, players from Balaram's side were actually carried by Krishna's side, and Pralambasura, he made sure that he would carry only Lord Balarama. He said, he thought, because no one else deserves it, because Balarama is the most powerful on the other side, so let me carry him. And of course, we all know that even though the Supreme Lord Krishna is invincible, aprameya, nobody can defeat him, but still he gets defeated in all these leelas. That is only for the pleasure of the leela, and he submits he submits to and surrenders to his devotees out of their pure love. And Sri Dama agreed to ride on Lord Krishna's shoulders. Similarly, Pralambasura, he was carrying Lord Balarama on his shoulders. So now what the first thing this demon did was, he started carrying Balarama, and he wanted to take him away. He actually took him far, far away. They were all supposed to take to certain spots as agreed upon earlier in the game, but he actually took Balarama far beyond Lord Krishna's side, so that he thought he could attack him, in isolation. So it is said Lord became so heavy, when this demon was carrying him, as heavy as Mount Sumeru, that Pralamba he had to slow down. And now, because of the Lord's great power and influence, now Pralambasura, he assumed his original form, and this form was greatly effulgent body covered with golden ornaments. It resembled a cloud flashing with lightning, and as though it was carrying a moon on its body, because Lord Balarama is compared to the brilliant white moon, and this Pralambasura was compared to a cloud. So Lord Balarama also initially, when he was being carried away by this demon, and when the demon assumed his real form, out of this mood of this pastime, this leela, he appeared to be slightly scared or disturbed by this horrible demoniac body. And of course, Lord Balarama is also the all-knowing Supreme Lord. It was just for the leela. And then immediately, Lord Balarama also, of course, he understood who this was and that he was a demon. But he handled the situation in such a way that he was so fearless that even though the demon tried kidnapping him, immediately, without wasting any time, he struck the demon's head with his hard fist, just as though Indra would strike a mountain with his thunderbolt. Thus, when he was smashed by Balarama's fist, Pralamba's head immediately cracked open, and he vomited blood from his mouth, and then he died, and he fell with a great noise. So, and all the cowherd boys were astonished to see this, and they all glorified Lord Balarama, saying, "Excellent, excellent." All right. So there are so many points here that Bhaktivinoda Thakur brings out. Before going into that, let me bring this up. Bhaktivinoda Thakur actually explains that, of all the demons killed by Krishna and Balaram, two, at least in this 20 a list of demons, two of them were killed by Balarama. Balarama really didn't kill too many of them. Out of these, he killed Dhenukasura and another is Pralambasura. Now, the unique feature about the demons killed by Balarama is that these anarthas, we have to work on ourselves. We have to put our self-effort to remove these anarthas. Not like just praying for the Lord's mercy, not like in the case of anarthas, that is represented by the demons killed by Krishna. That, yes, we can prayerfully surrender to the Lord and, he will take care. But in this specifically, it is, that's what Balarama is showing to us, that, you need to put the effort too. And of course, ultimately, it's his mercy. And this Pralambasura actually represents many things. In fact, he's the most difficult demon. We will see why. Because he represents what is known as sham devotion. Sham means fake. On the outside, it looks good, but inside it's not good. So that is sham devotion, hypocrisy, then superficially performing bhakti, while entertaining, lust for men or women, and then desire for worship, like puja, pratishtha, that we want to be adored by others, we want to be worshipped by others, and desire for greed for profit or material enjoyment. All these things are actually represented by this Pralambasura. So a devotee, it is said that devotee must really sincerely endeavor and with determination pray, cry out to the Lord so much. And finally, when, the humility becomes deep and intense, then, we get the mercy of Lord Balarama. Then he will help us come out of it. Until then, we really need to try hard. So that's the whole point. And then finally, when we get his mercy, we get Krishna's mercy too. And this demon-like Anartha will be taken care of. All right. So we will visit these Anarthas one by one. So first of all, like I said, Pralambasura indicates sham devotion. One thing we have to note here, that Pralambasura, he came as a friend of Krishna Balaram. So all the Gopas, they all thought he's one of them. So that is why it was the Anarthas represented by him are also very difficult for us to actually sort of pin down, because these are not the kind of Anarthas which trouble us on the face, in the face of it. Yes, they do trouble our bhakti, but the Anarthas like desire for profit, desire for adoration, these are actually, they give us happiness, really speaking, material happiness. So we may not be able to really to cast it out immediately. We may like it because he's like a friend. We may like it, we may want it, but then we have to analyze and we have to discriminate and cast it out with determination. So he comes as a friend, in disguise of a friend, so we have to be very careful. So sham devotion actually means something that looks like devotion on the outside, but it's actually not. Means one may be actually performing bhakti superficially or on the outside, but their real interest is not to serve the Lord. Their real interest is not to purify their own existence. Their real interest is actually to gratify their own senses. Well, we may all start like that. We may also be like that on some level. It's a continuous process. Anartha Nivrithi means continuous process of purification. But one has to acknowledge the fact that our intentions and our attitude in bhakti is very important. What are we really intending to do while performing bhakti? We may be chanting our rounds, we may be doing our sadhana, but we have to be very careful what is our attitude like in devotional service. So if our attitude is mostly about, oh, I want to become famous, I want to be a famous kirtanier, famous speaker, or this or that, then that's a problem. So for example, for sham devotion especially, there are professional kirtaniers versus devotional kirtaniers. You may get so many professionally very nice singing, everything is perfect, and sometimes even they are even hired for devotee events too, unfortunately, just because they perform well. But the point is, they're doing it for money, and Krishna is not at all pleased by that. The whole point is to please Krishna and Guru. And in the case of Pralambasura, also, just like I said, he behaved like one of the Gopas, and he was actually playing with them. So for Gopas, for Siddha Bhaktas, they're playing, they're having fun, joking with Krishna. That is all bhakti. Whatever they do is bhakti. Not like us, conditioned souls. For us, bhakti means Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atma Nivedanam. It is not like if I eat, it is automatically bhakti. If I sit, it is automatically bhakti. No. For us, there is a distinction because our body is not spiritual, nor is our consciousness fully spiritual yet. But this Pralambasura, even though he was actually doing what the other Gopas was doing, so it looked like he was actually performing bhakti to Krishna, but inside his heart, his desire was to kill Krishna. So that's why when we want to be the enjoyer, that means we want to kill Krishna. We want to take him out because Krishna is the enjoyer. Bhoktaram yagitapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram. So we have to understand that very fact. Of course, it's a whole sadhana, means it's practice, but at least we should have that intention, that effort. We have to put that effort. So that's why we have to understand all these in order to save ourselves from being cheated by all this. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually used the term Markata Vairagi or Markata Vairagya for such people, because there are a certain kind of sannyasis or so-called sadhus. They dress themselves up like in loincloth and all that, just like Vaishnavas, and they imitate great devotees like Srila Rupa Goswami. They may carry a bead bag and they chant also, but at the heart they're always thinking about how to get more women and money. So this sort of cheating is known as sham devotion. Well, of course, that is the heights, but it may come in various degrees and various forms. We have to be very careful within our own heart. We have to watch out for it. All right. So if we are talking about all these anarthas which block us from the goal, and what is that goal? The goal is Shuddha Bhakti. So we have to obviously understand what is this Shuddha Bhakti. It is very clearly defined in Bhakti Rasamrita Siddhu. Anyabhilashita shunyam gnana karmadi anavritam anukulena krishnanushilanam bhakti ruttama. So the highest form of bhakti is that which is not covered by anything else. It has to be only pure bhakti, means purely to render service, devotional service to Lord Krishna in a favorable way, the way he likes it, not the way one may perform bhakti, but if it is not approved by Krishna or acharyas, then it is not uttama bhakti. First of all, it may not even be bhakti. Bhakti means to please the Lord. So we have to be free from anyabhilasha. So there are some important points to be noted here. things that block us from bhakti are two types. One is something which is against dharma, adharma. And there are some things which are within dharma also. They also block bhakti. How is that? Let's see. So, anyabhilasha means anything, any other desires or activities or motivations are outside what is permitted by Vedas or Vedic dharma. That is anyabhilasha. That is adharma in short. So what does this mean? Vidwan Gauranga Prabhu really very nicely explains this. He says, basically, in Vedic life, in Vedic culture, everybody understands that we are already born with a certain karma, prarabdha karma. We cannot change anything about it. It could be money, it could be health, it could be happiness, whatever. So they don't really try to endeavor to change that. They don't really try to become very happy or immediately wealthy or whatever. In this life, in immediate context, like in today's day and age, everybody wants to immediately make money. Everybody wants to immediately change their destiny. So that is not permitted. Whatever is coming our way naturally by the course of karma, as ordained by higher authorities, is within the frame of dharma. So people who don't wait, who are not interested till next life, who want to enjoy whatever it takes to enjoy, they want to do it in this life. They don't really wait, care for next life or liberation. This is sinful mentality. So this is anyabhilasha. So that means people who are following dharma, Vedic dharma, they are always worried about next life. They want to improve their standard of life next life, because whatever is here in this life, that's it. It's not going to change much. So it's better to do bhakti than breaking our head, than overly endeavoring for things which are not within our reach. So that is these are called karmis. They also want sense enjoyment, but within the Vedic dharma. So they try to do yagnas so that they can elevate themselves to higher planets and enjoy material life in next life. Even this is actually opposed to Shuddha Bhakti, even though this is dharmic. Then next category also who are within the dharma category are the gnanis. They have some knowledge and they are not interested in material enjoyment either in this life or the next. So they want liberation. So these are gnanis. So gnana, karma, and anyabhilasha, all these have to be given up. Only so much karma and gnana which are favorable for bhakti. Of course, in conditioned life, we cannot escape that. Like we have to eat, we have to do our nitya karma, our daily duties, all that is there. So, but we have to as much as minimize to the point that we can stick to only those that can be offered to the Lord in bhakti. Those which are not favorable to bhakti should be given up. This is what it means. All right. So, sorry, I should have changed the slide. Okay. So, we have to, so in order to understand all this, it helps because if we do not cultivate all this knowledge, then we will be only floating on the surface, what is called as superficial bhakti, superficially performing bhakti. We may be chanting, we may be going to temple, we may be doing services, whatever. But if we are not aware of what really are we cultivating inside our heart, then also it's a problem. So, for example, again, all these desires like wealth, adoration, distinction that Pralambasura represents, these promise enjoyment, but they cheat us. So if we don't really bother to remove all these, go inside, just like here in the example, I think I had given this example even before, when it comes to chanting or when it comes to reading, understanding Bhagavatam, it has to be done with deep reflection and contemplation. So Srila Gaur Govind Maharaj gives this example of, how in the ocean, if you just hover on the surface, you get all these weeds. But if you go really deep down in the ocean, you actually get jewels. Similarly, it could be Bhagavatam, even it could be chanting. We have to go deeper. In chanting, when it comes to chanting, also, if we are not trying to give up our offenses in chanting, then that's also a problem. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur actually says, if we don't try to hear or chant offenselessly, if we go on chanting offensively, then chanting is nourishing. It nourishes even the bad elements inside our heart. So that means these anarthas may destroy our bhakti altogether. So we have to be very, very careful that way. That's why we need to understand what are these anarthas really that actually block us from achieving our goal. Okay, so let us understand what is artha, anartha, and types of anarthas. Artha literally in Sanskrit, it literally means meaning. One of the meanings is it is meaning, or it is the goal, it is the substance. What is our real meaning of life? Actually is Shuddha Bhakti or Krishna Prema. Because even in the Bhagavatam it is said, Savai Pumsam Paro Dharma Yatho Bhakshtir Dhokshaje Ahituki Apratihata Yatma Suprasidati. The only way to really fully get that fulfillment or happiness that our soul wants, we all our souls deep down, all jivas, we need that unending, uninterrupted bliss. These anarthas are keeping us from that. And we can get that bliss only by performing unmotivated and uninterrupted bhakti to Lord Krishna. So that is artha. What is artha? Is that Shuddha Bhakti, uninterrupted, unmotivated bhakti or Krishna Prema. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also says, Prema Pumartho Mahan. It is the greatest attainment one has to aim for in this life. Anything other than this actually is not essential. It has no meaning. Means it either directly or indirectly, if it is not supporting this goal, then it is anartha or no meaning. All these unwanted contaminations within our heart, they actually block us from obtaining this artha or Krishna Prema. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that there are two ways to actually destroy these anarthas. One is a direct method. Second is indirect method. In the direct method, of course, we have to nourish our bhakti by doing the Navavidha Bhakti, Shravan, Kirtan, etc. Especially Shravan, Kirtan, we have to go on increasing. This is the positive engagement in bhakti. Without this, there is no question of progressing in Krishna consciousness, of course. Then secondly, the indirect method is to overcome these anarthas. So in the Bhagavatam, about this direct method, of course, in the Bhagavatam it is said, Anartho Pashamam Sakshad Bhakti Yogam Adhokshaje Lokasya Janato Vidvams Chakre Satvata Samhitam. So it boldly proclaims that anarthas do go away just by doing bhakti, Shravan, Kirtan, Adi Bhakti. But there are some kinds of anarthas that need to be dealt with, or we should not give in to those anarthas. Then they will not block us from even doing this bhakti. So that is why this indirect method of overcoming these anarthas is also important. Let us see what are the types of anarthas. Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains this, is mostly from Harinam Chintamani, and some of them are from Madhurya Kadambini, also the concepts we'll see later. So there are four types, primarily these anarthas or contaminations in our heart are divided into four types. One is asat trishna, means our craving, thirst for material enjoyment. So there are four types of those: craving for material objects like, money, followers, beauty, all that. And then this is more of the anyabhilashas, or the people who want right now to enjoy in this life. Then next category is those seeking heavenly pleasures in next life. Then desire for mystic yoga, the yogis, that is also a contamination. Then desire for liberation, or the jnanis. So Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita about this: Bhogaishwarya prasaktanam tayapahrita chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhi samadho na vidhiyate. So what is the problem with this? Some people may think that, there are some people who believe that, see, I have these anarthas, I want to enjoy, let me enjoy, and let me do bhakti also. It may be advisable for those who are really beginners, but not really for sadhakas, because there are problems with this approach. One, by enjoyment, it is not like, oh, I'll enjoy once and then just forget about it. Once we enjoy, the more we'll want to do again and again. Just like to give an example, if you open the YouTube, whatever we watch on YouTube, let's say you watch a non-devotional video or something. Once you do it, next time you open YouTube, again it'll show you similar options. Oh, then you may be tempted to watch those. And then next time, the more you watch devotional videos, or if you limit yourself to watching only devotional videos, YouTube also shows only devotional content. So similarly, our mind and senses also, whatever we expose them to, they also ask for it more and more. And of course, in the material world, by nature, we are contaminated, and we seek for material enjoyment unless we practice bhakti and get a taste for it. So that is why Krishna is saying here, if we allow these distractions to, we give in to these distractions, then we will not, the vyavasayatmika buddhi, we will not get that determination, one-pointed focus to do just bhakti will not arise. And then next type of anartha is hridaya daurbhalyam, weakness of the heart. This also, even Arjuna displays this weakness to show to all of us. So Krishna says actually, Shudram hridaya daurbhalyam tyaktva tishtha parantapa. Give up this petty weakness of the heart and arise. So we have to get that determination. Of course, we need to keep praying, keep praying. So there are, the weakness of the heart is our four types. It could be some kind of an attachment. It could be to some trivial things. Some people can't give up coffee or tea or whatever. Or it could be even for some bigger things too. Then deceit, lying. So that is also a kind of a weakness of the heart, because if we are not able to have a straightforward, simple behavior, that will also destroy our bhakti. We may lie in order to show another face to someone else, and that will make it only worse for us. Better to be honest to ourselves and to others. So, and envying someone else's progress is also very bad, because that by engaging envy within our heart, we are actually destroying our own bhakti, not others. And longing for position and fame. Of course, this is puja, pratishtha, is very, very tough. We will see. And Pralambasura actually represents that. So these are the different types of weaknesses of the heart. And next is the aparadhas. There are four types of aparadha. we can see that one can lead to another, in most cases. In many cases it can be coming independently also. So once, if we have attachment for material desires, material enjoyment, it will lead to weakness of the heart, that will lead to aparadha, and then that will finally lead to a complete bewilderment, or our knowledge will be covered. That is tattva vibhrama. Sorry, am I going too fast? Because there's too much to cover here.
No, Mataji.
Okay, I'm okay? Okay.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. So, nama aparadha, the offenses to the holy name, seva aparadha, while doing service.
Mataji, if you need, you can take one more session for this class, because this is very important class.
Yeah,
so next session also you can take, Mataji, in this regard.
Okay.
Thank you,
We'll see
Mataji.
how much I can. Sure.
Thank you, Mataji.
Okay, sure. So, nama aparadha. So, there are many aparadhas, but 10 most important nama aparadhas are anyway given to us, listed out. So, one of the most important ways is to, every day, Govind Maharaj talks about, every day we need to read those or recite those 10 offenses to the holy name, and we need to see, cross-check, what have I done today? Did I do this aparadha? Did I do that aparadha? Did I do this? We have to cross-check. If we are able to identify, then we have to fix it right then and there. Let's say we have offended some devotee, subtly, grossly, however, or even within our own mind. We have to fix that. If we are not able to identify what is really, the thing is, the promised result of chanting offenselessly is bhakti, Krishna prema. So, okay, this is a long topic. I will not go into this here. Maybe if I do another session, we can go into the details. So the point is, if we are not finding the desired result happening, then it is only because of our offenses. So we have to reflect what is happening. Seva aparadha. While performing services, so many aparadhas, we are constantly offending. It helps to be honest to ourselves instead of becoming offended, or sometimes, especially when we are in the initial stages of devotional service, people get offended if you tell them that, oh, this is not correct, this is offensive. It's better to be honest, and that way we can make progress. And this is Kali Yuga. We have to understand our limitations also. We can't go to the extreme of harassing ourselves. It's not possible. Because Shukadeva Goswami says in Bhagavatam, Kaler dosha nidhe rajan astihi eko maha gunaha kirtanadeva krishnasya mukta sangha param rajet. So the Kali Yuga is full of faults. So if we really analyze, one day we have to take a time, make an effort. How much aparadha we do. Sometimes we may not even know how much contamination. So that's why Shukadeva Goswami is saying, Kalir dosha nidhe. Actually, everything is contaminated in Kali Yuga. The only way, but we have to try our best also. We have to try our best to mitigate that. When we can't, what is the remedy? Kirtana deva krishnasya mukta sangha paramraje. Again, it is only kirtana, chanting. So Vaishnava aparadha, as I already mentioned, this is also a big topic, but at least we have to understand how to respect Vaishnavas. So it is not that we have to glorify, respect someone beyond what they deserve. That is also an insult. So that is not correct. Many a times we may be carried away and we may want to, glorify someone beyond what they deserve, but it should not be so. I'm not saying this, but this is the etiquette, Vedic etiquette, and it is clearly laid out by our acharyas how a Kanishta Adhikari, Uttama Adhikari, a Madhyama Adhikari have to be given the respect they are due. So it is said that in order to avoid offending Vaishnavas, so if we follow this, it will be easier. So let's say we come across someone who is new or Kanishta. So we mentally offer respect to them. And someone who is initiated, we have to actually offer respect to them, offering obeisances and so on. And for someone who's Uttama Adhikari, of course, we really have to be very, very respectful and give them. Uttama Adhikari he's actually almost, he deserves the respect as much as Lord Krishna, Sakshadhari. So that is how we have to also make distinction and give respect wherever there is due. And Jiva Aparadha. And it is not that we have to be callous for other Jivas. In fact, the status of a liberated person, Krishna really clearly spells out in the Bhagavad Gita. He says, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Nashochati Nakangshati Samah Sarveshu Bhuteshu Madbhaktim Labhate Param. He says that Samadrishti, Samah Sarveshu Bhuteshu, one who is liberated, he doesn't make distinction. He sees everyone with equal vision, because they don't see the external, material designations or material forms that may be different externally, but internally there is the same Paramatma. So everybody's body is actually the temple of the Lord. If we have that vision, then there's no question of Jiva Parada. Of course, it is a very high platform, but we can remind ourselves theoretically, we can remind ourselves until we get to a point wherein we are actually able to realize that. So what I mean to say is, sometimes, especially when we are sometimes devotees, when they come new, when they're new in Krishna consciousness, they definitely they have a lot of appreciation and respect for devotees, but they commit offenses to non-devotees, thinking that they're less important and all that. So again, there are ways to deal with non-devotees too. Our acharyas have made it very clear. We can preach and show compassion to those who are innocent and who are not envious. But for those who are envious, no, we should not preach to them, because either we'll commit offense or they'll commit offense, and we will also become responsible for it. Because one of the 10 offenses of chanting the holy names actually says that, explaining the glories of the holy name to a faithless person is also an offense. So we have to stay away from that. And someone who is a devotee, of course, we make friends with them. So this is how we try to avoid offenses. And next is Tattva Vibhrama. So these three anarthas that we spoke about, weakness of the heart, thirst for the impermanent, or thirst for material enjoyment, and aparadhas or offenses, these have to be overcome by the indirect method. Indirect method means we have to also acknowledge, like I said, we have to put our effort, acknowledge, and try to deal with them. Bhakti is always there, direct method is always there. But these need a way of dealing with them, or we should not give in to these aparadhas, give in to these anarthas. So these tendencies may be there in the heart. We will see why these tendencies are actually coming about. We will shortly see that. But it helps not to give in to them. It's easier said than done, but we should at least try. And simultaneously pray to the Lord, and then He will help us out. So Tattva Vibhrama. Now, a direct consequence of offenses is that our knowledge will be covered. we can perceive this actually. Even our chanting will be affected very much if we are let us say, even if we have not offended, but if we have a sort of an offensive attitude, or if we or we have an envious attitude that particular day, we can try this out. Our chanting will not be so easy. Our chanting will not be so relishable. So this, I think many devotees have this experience, direct experience. So that is because there is a certain amount of covering there. Covering of what? The covering of our own sambandha jnana, our gnana. So first of all, when we really understand, when we come to a stage of knowledge that we are not the body, we are the spirit soul, and we are the servant of Krishna. If we really come to realize this fully, then there will be no question of any of these anarthas or aparadhas or blockages. So everything will be crystal clear. But now it is not clear because we as a spiritual jivas, we are not able to see with our spiritual eyes. So let me give a brief of this. Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains this in Harinam Chintamani. First of all, in bhakti, there are 3 stages. One is sadhana bhakti, second, bhava bhakti, and final, prema bhakti. So there are so many stages of bhakti. Until bhava bhakti, it is all called sadhana, because we are practicing to come to a spiritual platform. But we are not really on the spiritual platform. It's a practice. But from bhava bhakti onwards, progressively so, the jiva actually starts functioning on a spiritual level. That means he's actually he'll start seeing with his spiritual eyes. He'll start perceiving with his spiritual senses in bhava bhakti. And in prema bhakti, it becomes fully established. He has a full spiritual body, and he's fully established in his prema swarupa to Krishna. Then we will see how, and that is why all these anarthas, they actually completely fail to affect a devotee in prema bhakti. So now, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says actually that for a jiva, it's something is blocking the vision. Its spiritual vision is being blocked. It is like there a cloud, like it is misty. So that is actually the tamoguna, or the ignorance, and that can be divided into 4 types. Swatattva means because of this ignorance in the heart, we are not able to understand our own position, that our own identity as jiva. Then paratattva, we are not able to understand the tattva, or the philosophical truth about the Lord. Thirdly, sadhana tattva, how to go about this sadhana bhakti. We are not able to understand that. We are not clear. We may read, we may hear, but there's something that is still blocking us. Actually, whatever we hear, our Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Maharaj actually says this. He famously says, hearing as it is. It has a very deep import to that. We may even read Bhagavad Gita as it is. We may hear, but we may not be hearing it as it is or reading it as it is, because we all have our own conditioning. We have our own flavors and own combination of all these anarthas. And that is why we have this erroneous understanding of the philosophical truth. So we don't, and so we are not clear really about sadhana bhakti. Then fourthly, sadhya tattva. We are also not clear about the goal of life. So when these things are not clear, obviously we will not be 100% motivated to do what we have to do in bhakti. So it's like driving a car. If my path is clearly seen and if I have a clear route map, then I'll have no problem. So I always feel that, we can equate chanting for driving the car and all these shastras for GPS. Some people think we can only chant. That's fine. We can go back to Godhead. Well, that may be true. But for a Paramahamsa, the quality of chanting is also very important. But for like Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, he was illiterate. But he could quote from Shastra because everything was revealed to him. He was able to see through his spiritual eyes because he was a Paramahamsa. So to get to that stage, at least, conditioned souls like myself, we need the help of these scriptural knowledge. So it is very, very important. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur actually placed so much emphasis in Harinam Chintamani. He says, if we do not have a clear understanding of all these tattvas, really our chanting also, it will not give us full effect. So in order to come to an offenseless state of chanting, it is very, very important to understand all these. So that is why these anarthas must be overcome with this indirect method. But in Tattva Vibhrama, anyway, we are directly engaging in studying the Shastra, hearing about it. So that's also a part of Anga of Bhakti. Okay, I think I can stop here. What do you say, Mataji? This is a lot to go on, so we can do it next
session. It's very important subject matter. You can continue with next session also, Mataji.
Yeah.
If it is convenient for you, Mataji.
Yeah, sure. I can do that because no way I can complete it. It's a lot. So
Mataji, can you do some question or doubts related to today's topic?
Sure.
So, Mataji, please raise your hand and you can unmute yourself and go ahead with your questions.
Mataji, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranams. Thank you, Mataji, for an elaborate session. It was really very interesting to know the various facets of anarthas. But what I realized I wanted to share is we saw so many angles of anartha, so many varieties of anarthas, but single solution, like the sloka goes, we have an ocean of faults, but only one solution is that eko guno mahan guna, that is to chant. So like that, bhakti is the only solution for the various anarthas. So that itself will cut off the non-meaningful items and add meaning to our existence as and also make us realize that we are just mere servants of the Lord. So how we perform in a simple heart, with a simple heart, the bhakti is what draws the mercy of the Lordship as well as the acharyas.
Yes, definitely, surely. I mean, so you have more to your question, Mataji?
No, not a question, Mataji. I just wanted to share this realization because you have taken such a lot of pain and effort to put all this together. So, but what I felt is this is my realization, more and more. I'm thanking you for that, Mataji, to make us realize that.
Surely, Mataji. I'll let me give a quick example. The Gaur Govind Maharaj actually says this story. There was a mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. They were attending. They would actually cross over a river to go to another town to attend a Bhagavad Saptaha. They were doing it for 7 days. So both of them were hearing. Both of them were devotees. And the last day, what happened was it rained so much that they couldn't even take the boat. They couldn't, so it was completely flooded. The river was completely flooded. And the daughter-in-law, She was very simple at heart. And so she says, see, all this while we have been hearing in the Bhagavatam, it says how we can cross this ocean of material ocean with bhakti by taking the holy name. It will become just like a Govatsa Padam means like a calf's footprint. How much ever water is in the calf's footprint, we can easily cross over that. So it becomes so easy by Lord's mercy, especially by taking the holy name. So she says, okay, now the river is flooding. We have heard this all these 7 days, and now it's time to practice it. So without a second thought, she chants Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And then she starts walking across the river, and she crosses the river easily. And the mother-in-law is baffled. She keeps looking on, and she doesn't know what to make out. Now my daughter-in-law says, come on, why don't you do that? You just have to chant the holy name, keep the faith in the Lord's name, and cross. You will be able to cross. You just saw me how such a deep flooded river I was able to cross. But the mother-in-law cannot do that. She stays back. She's like, what are you doing? How are you going to take me across? Because she doesn't have that much faith. She is not as simple in the heart. Definitely what you said is 100% true. Simplicity is Vaishnavism. Saralata hi Vaishnavata. But are we that simple in the heart? I am not.
Yeah.
And do I have that faith? I don't have. Am I chanting offenselessly? I am not. But if someone, any one of you are, then really it's good. Go for it. Definitely, it is the way. Chanting is the only way. But all this is to help us chant better. All this is to help us. That's why I kept saying these are all roadblocks for what? They block us from chanting pure name. We need to chant Shuddhanama. In chanting, there are 3 stages: Aparadha, Nama, Bhasa, offenseless chanting. Then offenseless
Shuddhanam.
chanting is not the goal. That is the route. That is the way to chant Shuddhanama. We have to chant Shuddhanama. Unless we chant Shuddhanama, we won't get prema. It is not easy. It's not easy. But if you're confident, if you're chanting offenselessly, then no problem. Everything will be revealed. But the point is, how simple-hearted are we? If we, at least I am not. I have so many anarthas, so many crooked intentions, or God knows what. There is only so much I can analyze. But these things remind us, actually, these things remind us that we are far, far from the goal. Not to discourage us, but it will give us some semblance of humility somewhere down the line. Let's say we don't even think about all this, don't even care about all this, what will happen? And if we are not pure, I mean, if we are not simple, and if we are not doing whatever we are doing, our bhakti, hearing, chanting, everything has to be offenseless. Only then we will get the result. If we have offenses, that is the problem. These offenses can take us away so far that we will see it in the next session. I'm going to bring that up. That what happens is the bhakti lata, the creeper, our heart is like a field. And the bhakti lata bija that we get from the spiritual master, that has to grow, that has to be nourished with chanting and hearing, definitely. But when these creepers, which are other than bhakti lata, they also start growing. If we are not aware, if we are not careful, they also grow. Even without our knowing, they grow. Then our chanting will nourish that also. And it may come to a point wherein these weeds will take over the bhakti lata, and our bhakti lata may be lost. It's very dangerous. So it is one thing to be innocent and naive, but we should also come to a platform of Madhyama Adhikara. Prabhupada has said this. Because what happens is, if our faith is not anchored by foundation of Shastra, Gnana, then it is like a flag. If a strong wind blows, the flag may fly away. But if you anchor the flag with some weight, heavy weight, then no matter how strong the winds blow, it will stay put. That is the whole point. I hope I answered your question, but many things will be clarified in the upcoming session. There's so much to it. We are only at a benefit. It's not to be discouraged. But I had given this session 1 year back. It's not that with another group, it's not that I remember everything and I'm able to implement everything, but we have to keep reminding ourselves. And there is a direct result. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is talking about it. If you want, you should please read. I would highly recommend reading Harinam Chintamani. In that, he so clearly says, these are like clouds, all these ignorance and anarthas which are blocking our heart. If we don't have proper, clear understanding of tattvas, that is actually blocking us from seeing. And that would also block our chanting. So it works both ways. Anyway, and final solution you will see in my presentation too. Final solution to everything is offenseless chanting.
Yeah.
This is all to help us to come to that stage. All right. Any other questions?
Same question, Mataji. How to go for offenseless chanting? Because many a times we heard, and we are trying to associate with devotees, and we are trying to go for group chanting also. So we heard in many lectures, Mataji, and we are trying also. But somehow or other, we are not able to, it's very difficult. Like Manoharni Mataji, she mentioned, and as you explained, our faith and our, chanting is still not offenseless.
Right.
So how we can go for that, Mataji? And like you talk about sham devotees who are showing their non-devotee, who are showing their KC practitioners, and they are always more or less they are doing all abominable activities. And then also they are, they will come in Vaishnava attire and they are making others fools. And I heard in one of lecture, Mataji, if you want to become senior in SCON, just try to hang over for 15-20 years. And to neophyte, to innocent people, we are saying, it's gone from 15-20 years. So it's and if they neophyte practitioner who are just entering in Krishna consciousness, if they will see them doing all these nonsense activities, so what will happen with their faith, their bhakti lata kripa?
Exactly.
So, Mataji, how to save innocent, who are coming neophyte, and how to save ourselves with these practitioners?
Right.
Because somehow or other, Mataji, when we'll see, they are in Vaishnav dress, they are in tilak, they are in dhoti, sari, and everything. While seeing, you'll see, they are somehow or other Uttam Adhikari.
Right.
And their activities is some like Puja La Pratishta, Mataji.
Right.
This is always there, and maybe they are reading Srimad Bhagavad Gita also. They will quote that verse, Mataji, while when you are explaining to Manoharni Mataji that verse, Mataji, in Bhagavad Gita, 9th chapter, 30th verse. Apichet so duracharo.
Duracharo. Oh,
Then, they will quote this, Mataji, but they will not go for purport. In that translation, it is written, even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination.
Right.
And this thing happened in one KC practitioner, Mataji. She was new, and she got connected with some Mataji who are like in ISKCON from last 8-10 years. 8-10 years means big numbers, Mata.
Right.
And something she saw and she came to me. Okay, what is that? So I said, okay, this translation is perfect, but you go for purport. At the last, Prabhupada is writing, if he does not improve in his character by devotional service, then it is to be understood that he is not a high devotee. So I said, maybe they are quoting this translation, but they are not reading purport. Mataji, how to save our conscience with these practitioner, Mata? It's very difficult sometimes to deal with this kind of...
Right. You have a very valid question, Mataji. First of all, we have to understand, even those practitioners who have turned out like this, they may have also come with a good intention. They may have also come actually with intention to do just bhakti. Not everybody comes with a wrong intention. Some people do come with wrong intention also, just to get material benefits from the movement. That's also there. But this is the problem of doing superficial bhakti. If we are not aware of our own attitude, which direction we are heading at, then all these creepers, they take over. It will come to a point wherein we won't be able to even pashyana pina pashyati. Even though we are doing something really bad, we'll think it's okay. That is tamoguna. That's how we degrade in our consciousness. That's how we degrade.
They're not able to realize this, they are doing something wrong.
Even if you tell them, even if others tell them, no, that is tamoguna. Rajoguna, tamoguna, we cannot understand. We have to come to sattvaguna. It is a constant practice. See, I feel, it is not easy. Actually, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says this, that if we think we are progressing in bhakti, then we are actually falling. If we actually feel that we are stuck with so many thorns in the path of devotional service, then we are actually making progress. Because spiritual life is like a razor's edge. It's not easy. We have to be confronted with so many obstacles. That's the nature of material world. That's the nature of sadhana bhakti too. But it is not all hopeless. A day will come, surely a day will come. In Bhagavatam, I think 10th canto, it says, Tattenu kampam sushamik shamano bhunjana eva atma kritam vipakam. You should really read this verse, and even the purport is so beautiful. Sridhar Swami actually says that all we have to do is just stick to the process, just stick to it through thick and thin, no matter what happens. Then he says it's like a son who will automatically inherit what the father property, whatever is his property, he'll automatically inherit when the father dies. Similarly, we just have to stick to this without getting distracted. Utsaha, Nishchaya, Dhairyan, Tat Karma Pravartanat. We should not lose enthusiasm. We should be patient. Nishchaya, Tat Karma Pravartanat. Utsaha, Nishchaya, Dhairya, with determination. So these three things are very important. Enthusiasm, patience, determination. If we feel this happens even on a daily basis, unless we are really on a very high platform, unless we have attained some sort of a nishtha in bhakti, it goes up and down, right? Sometimes we are more inspired, sometimes we are a little less inspired, sometimes we may not be much inspired at all. But at least we have to have that. We should not take to any other forms of sense gratification. It should be only within bhakti. That much we have to be very careful. But if we don't feel an inspiration to do bhakti, that means there is something wrong. That means our offenses are increasing, anarthas are increasing. If it happens on a daily basis also. So see, all these things we have to be aware. We have to be aware, and we have to take notice, and we have to reflect and immediately try to act on it. We do not think that, okay, we will see, let's enjoy for now, some more time, and then that will only lead to further degradation. Yeah, we should stick to whatever Prabhupada has given us, the same process. We should do it nicely by giving up offenses. We will learn more about offenses, about all these anarthas more, and some tips also, remedies, how to deal with them. We can apply that. Mainly, we have to cultivate that attitude. See, all said and done, I've said this before too, it is not that, I don't mean to say, or even Prabhupada never said that we have to sit and cultivate each and every good quality. Oh, I have to give up envy, I have to give up this bad quality, I have to cultivate this good quality. No. That's not possible. 26 good qualities. But Bhagavatam says that yasyasti bhakti bhagavati akinchana sarvai gunais tatra samasate suraha. It's already there. When that pure bhakti arises in the heart, when the sun comes out, what to speak of the sun, even when it is at dawn, then all the hobgoblins, the ghosts, the robbers, everybody, they run away. So just that, even that offenseless stage of chanting is so powerful. And it's not that we are not at all chanting offenselessly. We may be chanting here and there. With time, it has to increase. It has to come to a point of steady offenseless chanting. It will come. We have to have faith. And it is our intense desire. It is our intense calling. We have to, it is not that we can just aram se do what we are doing. Yeah, but we can do. We can probably go to Vaikuntha also like that. But if we want Goloka, Krishna Prema, that is different. We are talking about Krishna Prema here. That is a totally different sphere. That is something, that is one main caption here. We want to be, taking it, at our own pace, nice and steady, following all the rules and regulations. Okay, that's good. Then Goloka is not the place for us. Yeah. Goloka means it is intense devotional service. Spontaneous raga bhakti. Of course, that's a very, very high stage, but at least, the dawn shows the day, right? If we don't have that kind of an aspiration now, maybe it will never come. Maybe it is not for us. That's okay. So this is all for Krishna Prema, the goal. Yeah.
Thank you, Mataji. Sure. Can we take one more question, Mataji?
Okay, sure.
So Shyamsundari Mataji, you can ask your question.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Mataji, I wanted to ask you that, Mataji, some days we are able to, suppose I have few sets of prayers and Bhagavatam to read and something like that. And someday I feel that I'm not doing that, it's not going on for 2-3 days. What is it? I mean, have I done some offense? Where did I go wrong? So that thing comes and it feels that maybe we are not known of the offense, and then what exactly needs to be done?
Yeah, it happens. Yeah, that's why I said we should not break our head too much. We shouldn't get too depressed that we lose our enthusiasm and we may even not want to do bhakti also. But the point is, every day if we do that reflection, 10 offenses, then we will be safe. And secondly, it may be our anarthas also. So we may have some material desires. They keep popping up now and then. But we need time. It's okay. I think most sadhakas go through that. Not to worry about it. Another book that I highly recommend is really one of my favorites, Madhurya Kadambini by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He actually very graphically describes every stage of sadhana bhakti. We know about Nado Shraddha, Tato Sadhu Sangha, Tato Bhajana Kriya. I'll go through that in the next session. But in intermediate to those stages also, then we can understand, we can so nicely relate to it. How a beginner will have so much enthusiasm, and then it goes up and down, and then he may not have so much enthusiasm. This is all a part of the package. You're not alone. Don't worry. You're not alone. Until we come to the liberated stage, we have to be patient. But let's keep doing what we are doing. But overall, we have to also see, maybe compared to last couple of years, how am I doing? Have I increased my services, or at least my service? First of all, it's Shravan Kirtan. So if we don't even have our Shravan Kirtan in place, then no point of any other service. So first of all, we have to focus on Shravan Kirtan, and that will nourish other services.
Okay, Mataji, thank you so much.
Sure.
Mataji, can you please repeat the name of the book? Madhurya
Kadambini. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. It's a fantastic book, small book, but it will take us all the way through prema.
We have Mataji that book. It's very
Okay.
nice book.
Yeah, beautiful book. Yeah.
So,
All right.
thank you so much,
Thank you
Mataji.
all
Maybe
so much.
we need some more session on this same topic, Mataji. Mati,
Yeah.
this is our humble request. You can go a little deeper and you can take 2 more sessions if you want. We can go
Okay.
for some how we can go for Anartha and Nivrithi, and we are very grateful to you, Mataji, because these types of session, it is very much needed for a sadhaka.
Right.
Because as you mentioned, really we are feeling so much thorns in our path, and we are not able to progress. So it's
Right.
sometimes we are getting frustrated also, Mataji, why we are not able to do, because
Right.
nowadays we are having so many health issues also.
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
but thank you so much, Mati. Thank you so much for the wonderful session, Mataji. And in near
Thank you.
future also we need your guidance, and we are going to trouble you again and again.
Oh,
Thank you.
all my pleasure. I'm only sharing very little what I know.
And now
To
maybe
repeat.
personally I'm going to trouble you with my personal
Surely.
knowledge.
Surely.
So,
Please feel
thank you so
free.
much, Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji. So we all thanks Mataji by chanting one time Hare Krishna Mahamantra and Vaishnav Pranam Mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna,
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 Hare
Ram,
Hare,
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Rama,
Rama Rama,
Rama
Hare
Rama, Hare
Hare.
Hare.
Vancha
Vancha
kalpatarubhyasya,
kalpatarubhyascha
kripa
kripa
sindhave,
sindhubhya eva cha
patitanam
patitanam
pavanebhyo
pavanebhyo
vaishnavibhyo
vaishnavibhyo.
namo. Thank you so much, all Matajis, and we'll see you on next Thursday again for
Sure.
the continuation of this session.
I saw one more hand raising. Any more questions
I
you
guess
can?
so.
Yeah,
I also
you
hope so.
can send it to my WhatsApp. I'll answer it. I'll try to answer it.
Yeah,
If possible.
sure, Mataji. Actually, that Mataji, she is from, she wants recordings, Mataji.
Okay.
So I'll take her number. Anupama Mataji, can you please write her number so that we can share the recording with her?
Okay.
And thank you so much, Shamaa.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Hare
you. Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Anupama Mataji,
Yes, Mataji.
can you please write her number? Mataji's number. It is there in chat box. I will also write.
Mataji, what is your number?
No, not Mataji's. Mataji's number, Ati Chandramati, she is having. This Mataji in chat box, she need recordings. I'm writing. Just wait. 01694522186. So yes, Mataji will share recordings with you. Your number is with me. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Anupama Mataji, you can end.
Yes, Mataji.